Welcome. This is my channel and I tell stories of the mysterious, twisted, and paranormal. So please stick around and consider subscribing and turning on your post notifications. Now, I got a story for you today that will entertain you, so relax and enjoy. And remember, as of now, it's time to slip into a mind that's not our own. So let's go.
I'll let you know, make sure to find the hidden clue and put what it is along with the timestamp in the comments. Alright.
Alan Addis was born in 1961 and he joined the Royal Marines when he was still in his teens. He got posted to the far-off Falkland Islands that were located off the east side of Argentina on the southern tip of South America. And at this time, the United Kingdom had control over that territory for hundreds of years. But by the second half of the 20th century, Argentina was becoming increasingly envious of that territory. And this would cause tension that would soon come to a head in the Falklands War when Argentina forces invaded the islands in 1982. But with this story, our main protagonist, Alan Addis, wouldn't be there to witness the conflict because he vanished without a trace in August of 1980. Alan was 19 years old and he served in the Naval Party 8901, which was in the Falklands as a strategic tripwire in case Argentina attempted to seize the islands. The Marines were also tasked with preparing the large British population to resist Argentinian aggression, and they managed to pull together about 120 civilian volunteers to come to the island's defenses. So Alan and his comrades had gotten to know the locals very well. And on the evening of August 8th, a small group of them attended a gathering at the village hall on the settlement's north arm, which, despite its name, is actually located on the southern end of East Falkland. And after that, Alan was last seen at the hall sometime after 1:30 a.m. So when the sunrise the next morning hit, his brothers-in-arms boarded a boat back to the Falkland capital of Stanley, and only after the boat left the North Arm they realized that Alan was missing. So, naturally some of them speculated that, he must have went AWOL. And they think that he probably went AWOL after, meeting a girl at the village hall, but others worried that he actually had fallen overboard. And as the days progressed with no sign of him, many more questions would arise. This led to a massive investigation being launched shortly after Alan's disappearance, and there were reconnaissance boats and aircraft that methodically combed the surrounding areas but found absolutely no sign of his body. So investigators naturally were stumped, but Alan's mother was not willing to give up on her son so easily. And in the fall of 1981, she headed to the Falklands to personally oversee the search and rescue for the missing soldier. And Anne, who was his mother, soon came to believe that her son's disappearance was no accident at all. She thought that someone was behind it. She just didn't know who or why. And as her suspicion grew, she requested for the Ministry of Defense to open an inquiry into this incident. The inquiry was duly conducted by the Special Investigations Branch of the Royal Military Police. And even though it was Anne who initiated this investigation, she, for some reason, was not privy to the results. And in the end, a Special Investigations Branch officer in charge put a report as confidential, and Anne was never able to read one word of it. Then, Anne's request for the truth suffered yet another setback when the Falklands War broke out, and the delicate files collected during the investigation, of course, seemed to go missing. But she continued keeping her ear to the ground, however, and in 1993, she received word of a rumor that a Falklander had recently bragged about being involved in Alan's death. Now, of course, this was certainly not what any mother would want to hear, but it was what Anne had long suspected, and she believed that if it brought her any closer to having some closure, she was going to pursue this small little clue for all that it was worth. So she forwarded this new bit of information to the Royal Falkland Islands Police, and it became part of a larger reopening of the whole case and a huge renewed search for answers. And there was this time a new team of investigators that quickly dispelled some of the more baseless rumors, but they actually did determine that Alan Addis was most likely the victim of a murder by one of the locals. They even zeroed in on 4 different persons of interest, and they ended up arresting all 4 of them. Yet right when that happened, they reached yet another dead end and had to subsequently release all of them from custody. The next major development occurred in 1997 when a team of forensic archaeologists from the University of Birmingham set out to see if they could locate Alan's remains somewhere, and the group made expert use of ground-penetrating radar, also known as GPR, along with a cadaver dog to look through numerous locations where it was hypothesized that Alan might be. But like everything else, the search turned up absolutely nothing. I know some would say that this result might be seen as heartening because it left open the possibility that Alan was actually still alive and not dead. But in reality, it did nothing to close the case or provide closure to Alan's mother. So Anne vigorously kept up her investigation, and far into the future, in December 2010, she received a tip from a Falklands resident who claimed to know where Alan was buried and that he was actually deceased. So, the Metropolitan Police headed to the islands to investigate and conduct yet another search. But unfortunately, once again, they came back with nothing and empty-handed. Sadly, after this, Alan Addis passed away in 2011, with her son's disappearance still unresolved. Others, however, took up the search to find Alan in her honor, and in the summer of 2018, the British Forces Broadcasting Service posted a YouTube video, a special documentary on his disappearance. That documentary brought forth more Falklanders who were present around the same time of Alan's disappearance, and a bunch of them theorized that he might have been killed in what was initially one of the first theories, which was a fight over a woman. Because such conflicts like this between the locals and the British troops were relatively common back then. So it is to ask, was Alan murdered in a fit of jealous rage? Now, there is still a lot more to this case that needs to be sorted out, but hopefully all of this renewed interest, including the story on it I'm doing right now, will bring about a better understanding of what actually happened to Alan Addis in the Falkland Islands all those years ago. So, did Alan Addis fall over the boat once it immediately left shore? Or did he get lost the night before after 1:30 in the morning and find himself maybe in a bad spot in town where he got himself into trouble? Or was it a fight over a woman that caused his demise? With all this new information, there still seems to be this drip from the case, and one day we might know the exact story of what happened to Alan Addis. Either that, or we'll never know at all.